Okay, we're recording. Hi, Karen.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. You have a great story to tell, so I'm super excited to hear all about it. And let's just jump right in and get started. So I would like to know, just in a few sentences, can you please tell the audience who you are and what you do?
So my name is Karen Howeth, and years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I went into a place of, I owned that, and I became cancer, and then I became the diagnosis. But then I started this whole self-discovery thing, and I learned to fall in love with myself again, find self-worth, and embrace myself. And I understood that I could start to teach other people this and to find their own healing within their own self-discovery. So I help people. So I go cancer mindset and movement is what I call my business. And we go into self-discovery during and after cancer. And then we go into the movement where I teach them actually how to free up scar tissue, feel into their bodies, and become more present in this life so that they can find joy.
Well, self-worth and joy. I think we could all use more of that.
I agree. I
Great.
agree.
And what's your intention with sharing your story today?
My intention is that and I know there is a lot of people on this earth like I was. I have a tendency to be a little bit more stubborn within, like towards myself. And I've learned how to be easy on myself. And my intention is that someone listening can probably have that aha moment, like they resonate with what I'm saying, or oh my gosh, that sounded just like me. And there is ways to find this hope and this choice that you can change yourself and you can fall in love with yourself again.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me a little bit about what was going on in your life before your cancer diagnosis.
I was raised in a very dysfunctional family, as many of us are. And then, I was drawn to sports. That was my getaway. And I was very athletic. In fact, I was up for Junior Olympics for volleyball and soccer. And so that was my draw away from home life. I ran away when I was 15, but I ended up marrying the man of my dreams. And we formed this amazing life, and we're still together 35 years later.
Congratulations.
So before cancer, I never dealt with my own emotion. I never dealt with life stuff. I dissociated from it. I separated from it. And then I was 31, and I became a singer for Sweet Adelines. I was a baritone for Barbershop Quartet, and notice I started getting all this lump in my throat, and I was choking and gasping for air. And then I knew intuitively something was not right. And so leading up to that, and then that's when I discovered cancer. But I had plenty of accidents and injuries and traumas, car accidents, and all that. And all that compounded and led up to the symptoms.
Hmm.
So,
All right. Well, tell me your story now. Let's go into what you learned, what happened, and what you learned.
so what happened? Like I said, I was a singer with Sweet Adelines, and we were taught to sing properly with our diaphragm, and so that we wouldn't, strain or tax our throat. I would go home at night, and after 3 hours of singing, I noticed that my voice started getting really tired. And you may notice that I sound a little hoarse. That's my normal voice now. But that was happening, and then I would go to bed at night, and I'd feel this pressure, and it would wake me up choking and literally gasping for air. And my husband would just try to like console so that I could breathe again. So the cancer was pressing inward, and I went to the doctor, and she said, and this was like 4 doctors later, I went to the doctor, and she said, I don't want you to leave until we do a biopsy. But don't worry, it's only 5% chance cancer, 5% chance that it would spread, or 5% chance that you would even need any treatment or anything. So I come back a week later, and the doctor doesn't even look at me. She just looks at the notes, stares at the wall, and says just like this, "Well, you have cancer." Like I just won a lottery or something, right? My husband was immediately devastated. And I just said, because I was not my own advocate, I said, okay, now what? And it was at that moment where I gave her 100% permission to do everything and anything she wanted, regardless, even if it was my best interest, you know. And so then surgery was scheduled, and they said it was stage 4 and that I had 5 years to live. And I went into a deep, dark depression.
Well, especially when the doctor set this expectation of these 5%, you know?
Exactly. Right? So you're thinking, okay, really nothing to worry about.
Right. 5 years. I have 5 years to live. That's a big difference from 5% chance of anything being problematic.
Right. And so, I mean, I had 3 kids at home, and I can remember in the living room, as we were telling the kids, and I had my hands on my face. And at 31 years old, I cried because I wanted to see my grandchildren.
Yeah.
They were not even close to being in the picture yet.
Right.
But that was my reality, that, you know, I wasn't going to make it to that point. And now I have grandchildren. So I'm loving that.
Great. And so what did the next steps look like? Did you go through treatment? What happened after you did you come out of the depression and take action, or how did things progress from there?
Things progressed very roughly from there. I went into, like I said, a deep, dark depression. I became addicted to drugs. I was chewing OxyContin. I didn't want to feel anymore. I was living on 15 medications, and I was living in the ICU, and that went on for almost 4 years. And it was at that point, after those 4 years, my husband and I said, this finally, we said, we need to be our own advocates, and this isn't working. And so we started on this journey where just my husband and I just started weaning myself off the medications. You know, and we told the doctors that this just isn't working. We've got to find something else. Everything you have me on it's just masking everything. And so we started getting healthy and working on this. And then I started feeling better. I had had several surgeries. And then we decided to close our business that we had and get into a business where we could help others instead of just giving them things, because we were in the building business. And we were looking in the medical field, but because of mishaps, we decided we didn't want to be in the medical field. We wanted to do something integrative or alternative. And we went into chronic pain and injury recovery massage school. And then, we didn't realize we were going to have to work on ourselves in order to help other people. And that was a big thing for us. And so we went to the school, and it was a week before school was over, and I got in a severe car accident, which is interesting because everything is throat and neck. Like these injuries I just kept having, you know, no voice. It was just all like manifesting right here.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we just started diving in harder and harder with our own healing so that we could help other people in their healing.
Very cool. And what did that look like? What were those health changes that you were making? What was this healing that you were doing?
So it was very interesting, because when I got into the car accident, I had chronic fatigue and pain. I couldn't stop crying. I was just this emotional volcano, and I didn't know what was going on. And so one of my teachers, she came over and she says, I really need to do this different modality and different work on you to see if we can calm this stuff down. And she started to explain how life has been compounding and then, you know, you're hit or you're cut or whatever, and you're starting to kind of, that's all in your body, and it's like festering up. So she came over and she started working and on me, and she was explaining to me how when in a whiplash your body goes forward and then it goes back, it tries to go back, but the seat and the headrest stop the body from going through those motions. So now your body was not allowed to do what it needed to do. And so all that fun stuckness, do you like that word? is in there. And so you kind of dissociate from the body, the pain, the reality of your whole life. And she really helped me bring that back in. So learning to have more presence within myself, learning to be grounded, learning to be the person that God designed me to be. And, you know, we're created to be energetic beings, and love and light and joy and happiness. And then I changed my life as far as bringing, getting my body more alkaline. So we were decreasing the acidity in my body. Movement, feeling, meditation, anything mind body that I could connect with, that I could get through those layers of my own life.
So it's kind of like all those times that you dissociated with your body, you had to reconnect all those and be in your body, start being present again.
Yes.
Kind of like I heard someone say on a weight loss journey, like you didn't gain 60 pounds overnight, so you're not going to lose it overnight.
Exactly.
It's kind of that same concept of, you know, you dissociated so many times that you're not going to get it back instantaneously. You have to practice reassociating and reminding your body that it's here, and that, you need that body and mind connection.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's clearly 5 years later and you're alive. You have, you said a grandchild? You have grandchildren now?
So it is, I was diagnosed actually 21 years ago.
Wow.
And my oldest grandson is 11 and my granddaughter is 7. And they're the joy of my life. And what's interesting about the process of them being born and in their lives, my husband, my daughter, and I, we all instill these principles of the self-love, worth, and, you know, embracing themselves for who they are, finding their voice when they need their voice, standing on their own 2 feet, you know, finding that power to be who they are. And you know how you hear out of the voice of babes,
Mm-hmm.
oh my goodness, my granddaughter, you better watch out, because she knows how to find her voice. And so we work with her to tone just a little bit on the be respectful when you say what you need to say. But I believe that both of them are going to be just powerful in this world for themselves and other people.
Yeah. So when we think a little bit about the metaphysics, and you were mentioning how all these injuries and problems seem to be around your throat and neck, what is the metaphysical connection there that you drew?
So definitely you don't have your power, you don't have your voice, and you don't have the all to be strong. It's just all ripped away from you. You feel like you need to hide and you need to stay small. So, yeah.
I think a lot of women could resonate with those expressions.
Definitely. And I feel like, you know, a lot of us, we don't connect without self-worth, and we don't feel like we're worthy of love or being heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so overall then, what did you feel like your cancer journey really taught you?
It was the disease that really helped me to live. It almost took me out, and I almost allowed it to happen. But it really taught me how to come back to myself, to reconnect with that inner child. I've always loved to laugh and play and carry on, but it was more of an outward, and now it's an inward. I mean, I can get in the elevator in front of the mirror, and I don't care who else is in there, and I can have a great time. So, I don't need anyone else to live this life. Even though I love having everybody else in my life, I can stand on my own two feet and enjoy what I'm doing.
Very good. And you mentioned that you're doing this chronic pain clinic. How does that piece come in? How's that connected?
Well, that's actually very connected, because it's about, so we have the chronic pain people that come in, and many of them have kind of dissociated from the pain. They're either on pills or injections, or they've had surgeries, and they're just continually staying in that place of pain. And we bring them back into their breath and their awareness, and so that they can feel, because many times we want to numb out. We don't want to feel it. But like I tell every one of my clients, when they're ready to go there, I am here to get messy with them, because I dive into my own mess. But we don't also need to hang on to other people's mess. So I educate them about letting go of other people's stuff, because we don't need it. And to not take things personal. When we are working on them, we have them connect with what they're feeling, not just under my hands, but deeper into their body. What are they feeling in their heart space? What are they feeling in their diaphragm or their head? Or, is there areas of numbness that they're not feeling? And then we bring their awareness and their breath into those areas as well.
Very cool. Very good. That just has me thinking about so much, because I think a lot of times when we hear about the body-mind connection, it's almost like a platitude. We're like, yeah, that's true. They're connected. But then when it comes to actually working on disease or healing pain, we're like, pills, medicine.
Well, and right, because we think it's the easy fix, but it's not. It's only numbing us out, and it's hiding the symptoms. That's all it's doing. Now, I'm not saying that some surgeries and pills and injections are not required. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is there can be a lot less of it, and we can do a lot better in our healing if we pay attention to some of these. And ask questions by all means. Well, what's that for? What's the symptoms? What's the, what are the side effects? We've got to take control of this. We're the ones living in our body, not the doctor.
Right. Absolutely. So, knowing what you know now, what would you have told your younger self about this?
That is a fantastic question. I love that. And I can really resonate with that, because my granddaughter is so much like I was when I was younger. And I see it within her. And so if I look as her to being me back then, I would sit myself down and remind myself that this life does not have to be a struggle. Because for years, I thought that struggle was where I was drawing my strength and my power from. And I was just staying in the struggle. It was a continual battle. So I would remind myself of that, and then I would teach myself ways of how not to struggle. And that it doesn't have to be hard, and to be easy on myself.
What are some of those ways
of working through struggle?
Let go of struggle.
Yeah. So, I think many times we need to step back and really feel and connect with what's coming up for us at that moment. Are you stuck in that old belief pattern? Is it sabotaging what you're trying to gain? And if it's in your way, find a new healthy belief. Ask yourself, is that helping me or harming me? So that is definitely one way, is to cull through those beliefs. And when we go into our fears and our belief, that's when we start to stand in our power, when we take action on those and moving forward.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Very cool. Ooh, you gave us some good stuff today. Lots to think about. I'm ready to go journal now.
Nice. Perfect. I should go journal too.
Well, I want to see if there's any last thoughts that you have before I ask you our fun, silly question to end.
There's going to be a fun, silly one. I love fun.
Yes.
Oh,
I know you do. Any final thoughts or words for our audience today?
Any final thoughts or words? I really feel like if you can take any of what I am saying to heart, listen to yourself, listen to your inner voice, and one thin layer at a time, start making a difference in your own life, because you will recreate a life that you thought you could never experience.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me think of the question of what's one thing on your bucket list? Because I feel like you've gotten this huge extension of life, and so many of us take for granted our next day. So what's on your bucket list? What do you have yet to do that you want to do?
Well, it's funny that you asked that, because years ago I said I just want to go on this really cool helicopter ride, and when I got in the car accident, I rode in a helicopter.
You got your helicopter ride, not the one you wanted, but you got one.
Someone said, that is not your bucket list helicopter ride.
It's not.
I would love to be able to go to New Zealand and do some backpacking all over New Zealand. I would love that as my bucket list.
How fun.
Yes.
That sounds exciting. Ooh, I might have to add that to mine. I think I'm going to steal other people's bucket list things and add them to mine.
I know, why can't you? I mean, if you have the same ideas or dreams, right?
Yeah. Now, I got to ride in a helicopter, and one time it was absolutely amazing, and the second time I was terrified. So I would count the first one as a bucket list one and the second one not so much.
There you go. I probably have to get it. I'll probably fly over Grand Canyon or something in a helicopter. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very cool. I highly recommend it. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Karen. Thank you for your amazing insight. And I've put all your contact info into the links and comments below, so that anyone who wants to get in touch with you for pain management, doing the work that you do, even talking to you further, you're encouraged to do that. Those of you who are watching and listening. So thanks again, Karen, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.